All right, welcome to episode 2 of the MinBet podcast. Jason, how's everything going?
Everything's good. I just started a new job, consulting in Chicago. I'm a salaryman now. Still been playing a little bit on the side, tournaments here and there. Not too often though.
No more driving around doing the 19-hour drive state to play.
No, I have an apartment now. I don't live out of my car. Yeah.
Oh, very nice, moving up in the world. Last time you spoke to, I think you were playing the WSOPC Horseshoe, right, in Illinois.
Yeah, I'm playing the WSOP in Elgin right now.
Right.
So it started last Thursday, and I played in one event on Friday and two events on Saturday. Fired a lot of bullets. They've been going okay. Been running kind of cold, I think, or maybe I'm just bad. Maybe I'm just bad. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But on Saturday, I placed 15th in like the $400 like WSOP event number 3. So not too
Okay, yeah,
shabby.
very nice.
Yeah,
That was a side event, right?
yeah, Saturday event. Yep.
Very nice though. That's it's another WSP cash. Have you
Yep.
played any cash games?
No, I haven't. So I really just started my job. So I started March 25th, and that whole first week was just like a lot of onboarding stuff, and haven't really had the chance to go and play for 6 hours at a time. If I'm not playing for like a couple hours, I don't really want to go. So I
Well,
haven't played.
what's like a small session for you then? What's like the cap like when you're not going to bother to play?
I'd say like 2 to 3 hours is like the lowest I'll ever go,
Right.
and
Okay.
that's like usually unintentional. Like if I go sit down and I run good for like 2 hours and I have something else to do, that's usually when I'll leave. But yeah, typically it's a little bit longer. When we were down
Yeah.
in Texas, we were playing like what 6 hour, 12 hour sessions. Before you got there, I was our big 12 hour sessions. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I had my shortest session in Texas where I didn't have plans, where I just decided to not play, was like 10 hours maybe or 9 hours.
Yeah.
Every session was long. I think my longest there was I did like a 16-hour session. I think, and like the second day
Yeah.
or the third day playing PLO. Started playing PLO in the morning, and then like played right through to like early hours the next day. And I was just like, "What the fuck's the day gone?" It was like it was crazy, but that's how good those games were. But yeah,
Yeah.
so like kind of you're getting settled in your new job, which is you're doing the responsible thing. So I went over to the Irish Open, which was a lot of fun. It's like so I guess for you guys, it's the closest thing we have to like an American circuit series that's actually got a good vibe to it. Because like I don't know what you felt like for the horseshoe or like the BSBC stuff, like whether it's been fun atmospheres. But I know you guys have good prize pools. You've got good, it's good value. So the Irish Open is the one good value that you can find in Europe that's not like insane rake or not good atmosphere. So that was a lot of fun. Went there, met all the organisers. I met lots of people I really wanted to meet in the industry. So like Weasel Poker, who does like ACL stuff. He's like a legend for me, I think, in poker, like especially UK poker. He's like right up there. Met some like UK grinders who I'm aware of who are really cool. Met some friends that I knew from other stops. Played a couple of events. So I actually bubbled the first day, so it was quite a depressing trip. Literally, as soon as I got there, right,
Yeah.
I fired in a tourney, 350, and got onto the bubble. I have 6 big blinds. Got jacks. I think there's like 4 left from the money, and I don't think this might be an ICM punt. I don't think it is. I asked some people, they said no. But I'm about to go through the blinds and the obviously big blind ante. So if I go through that, I'll have like 4 big blinds left, not even like 3 big blinds, 3.5, and then I'm gonna come around again. I'm gonna be out of the tournament basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought Jacks was like a nice spot to jam. So I jam 6 bigs. I get ISO by a big stack, and then the guy who covers me but not him, he sits there and he goes, "Oh fucking hell, like this shit." So I'm like, "Oh, I'm dead." I thought he had queens and he's on the bubble and doesn't know what to do, which is that's a reasonable upset spot, right? It's queens,
Yeah. Yeah.
or maybe like tens. Maybe he could have tens occasionally, and that could be good. But generally, I'm going to be dead. It's going to be like ace king for flipping kings, queens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he ends up sticking it in. I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm just dead. I showed jacks. The other guy is ace 10 suited, which is like a
Reasonable.
okay. It's reasonable. I mean, it's a bit aggressive because I'm probably not going to get it in worse than tens. Maybe tens is right at the bottom. He's always going to be like quite like behind. So it's probably not a great get in. And then the other guy had eights, man, pocket eights. Anyway, he fucking flopped an 8, so I was already getting up anyway. And the other guy rivered the ace, which made me feel better, but that was just disgusting. It was like such a stupid spot.
When
Um,
if you guys both busted at the same time, you guys split the place, right? Or no? Is it whoever has more?
well, I think if it was under direct bubble and it was one
Yeah.
person the money, he'd get in because he has more than me, I believe.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Interesting.
sure that's how it works, but maybe someone will correct us. I don't know. I think that's how it works. So yeah, so bubbled that first day. It's raining. I'm in an Airbnb that I misread the description. I guess I thought it was like a private room. It was really expensive. It was like 150 euros a night, which is like
Wow.
I guess it's like what, like 180 bucks. So I thought it was like, oh, this is like a nice house with a private ensuite area for like a room and a bathroom, right? Around the corner from the tournament venue, dude. It was like a small house with a middle-aged couple and a fucking an annoying dog. And then I go up the stairs and they have a small bedroom. Literally, you go up the stairs, bedroom, like three more steps that way, bathroom and their bedroom. That's it.
No way. So you're
It
living with them.
living with them, and I don't want to live with anybody because I'm playing fucking poker every day, right? So it was just
Yeah.
like very awkward. They were nice, they were lovely, but it was very awkward. Like I kept getting home like 4 a.m. and I'm pretty sure I was waking them up every time.
Yeah.
So you know, but then it went all better. Like the next few days, like, I think I satellited in the day after to the main event, which is like a 1.2k. I got in on 5 100 euro bullets, so you know, it's to save money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then if I had a mystery bounty event, which was quite funny because I was drinking and I was lit. I was fucking steaming. And I met a Tawny Pro who I know he was outside playing it, this mystery bounty event, and it was on just on the end of late reg, and he said, "Hey, it's a really good time to register the mystery bounty. It's plus EV. It's the max late reg these events. Like normal bounties, you need to be in early, but these ones it's good to late reg, max late reg." So I was like, "Oh yes, fuck it, I'll spin it. All right, I'm drunk, 550, fucking spin." Doubled up first hand, Queen Jack v Jack 10 v Deuces, so trebled up. Then just span it, went on till like half five, 13 left. I got 4 bounties somehow, just like getting it in, like getting shorter stacks, which was really nice when I was quite short on the bubble. Pulled the 4K, pulled 2 1Ks, like, just spinning it,
Love
man.
box. Yeah.
Just,
Just
yeah, that's how you do it. It's all skill, all skill. And it's funny, on like last 13, I was on like, there was 2 tables left. I was on Spraggy's table. So that was quite an experience. And, yeah. And then after that, the trip was just a lot of fun. Like, it was good to like be out there with friends. Trying to think what happened after that. Obviously, the main event was kind of interesting because I had to play the day after that tournament, the mystery bounty. So picture this, I'm fucking steaming, starting to become sober because I'm drinking coffee. Right, it's half five, 13 left. There's 20k up top in this tournament. I've got a headache. I've got to be up at 11 the next day, so 6 hours because I've got a work thing, and then I've got to register the main event at 1. And so then did all that, man. Like busted, got an ace nine ace queen, busted. Went to go in the main event. Fucking played that till 11:30, so 1 p.m. till 11:30. Just it was a fucking grind, man. Like 40-minute
Dude,
levels.
I don't know anyone that loves poker more than you, bro. Like
Yeah.
that's a job for real, dude. Actually.
I love it and hate it. So I love hate relationship. Like it
Yeah.
was really interesting because I think I played some very good poker that day. I didn't get any easy spots really. Like it was lots of tough hands. Played like really tough tables. Took over 3.5x starting, so that was quite cool to have like a decent stack day 2. Then day 2 sat down 25 bigs, card dead for 2 hours, 3 hours, then jammed sevens over and open. He had aces. So, what do you want me to do? GG.
Yeah.
But it was that was a sick run, and then came back straight back into cash. And actually, because I've just had a really good run, right? Obviously, you were with me in Texas where you saw me just fucking pure it the whole time. Sun run. This trip, that year, Ireland trip was a sun run in Dublin. So I'd been doing really well. So I've been shot taking now. So playing like 2-5, 5-5, 5-10 now, and it's been going great. Like, honestly, just really, really enjoying the sun run. I think I'm playing very well. But I genuinely don't think I was playing even better in a downswing I had in winter, like in December. So it is what it is, and it was really cool actually. Yesterday, got to play with like arguably like the Nick Airball of UK poker, or I don't know whether he's like a legend for UK poker for like cash games. Like he's somebody who brings action, like he makes games fun. Like he's somebody that everyone wants to play with. But he's obviously like super smart, savvy guy. Like it's not like an intentional thing. He's a guy called Jago who we played with, and that was a lot of fun. he played Napoleons where I play in Sheffield, and that was 5, 10, 20, 40. We had the button game on. So the button game is the button has to put 10 on the button every time. And if you're on a small blind and you win the hand, you get the money on the button. And it went up as high as like 150 in the game.
Jeez, dude.
So it
Unreal.
adds a new dynamic. We had the 7 deuce game on. So if you show 7 deuce, everybody has to pay you 50.
50. Wow.
50.
Was that the deepest game you've ever played?
That's a good question. I think there were spots in Texas where I was deeper in the PLO when I span it up. Like I was playing some pots where I was like 4K effective.
Yeah.
So that was, but it was probably the biggest game in terms of swings. Like I saw massive pots. I saw like there was a couple of like 7, 8K, 9K pots. This is quite wild. But I was ready for it. Like I sat down ready to spin. Found some nice spot. I doubled up early. Found some nice spots after. Like cashed out for like 6.75 profit. So nice little win. But honestly, to play with Jagger was like really cool. I know it sounds like quite like fanboy whatever, but he's a very fun guy to play with, and he like lived up to expectation. Because when I was in Ireland, right, so I'm walking through to register, and I hear somebody mention his name, and he's played in Sheffield before, but I've always played like 1-2 while he's been playing like 5-10 or 10-20. And they're talking about him playing in a casino in Coventry, which is a small city in the UK, where they ran out of chips for him to use. So they end up using like lighters or something, or hotel cards as plaques for like 1K or 2K or 10K.
They'd let him do that? That's crazy.
I guess so. Like, yeah, it's fucking
I guess
insane,
if it's
dude.
small enough, yeah, why not, right?
He's like, he's somebody that I think we don't in the UK we don't have many people who's good for poker. There's probably I could probably count them on one hand, but he's one of them. So like it's very cool to play with him for sure. So that was a cool experience. And then just like Sun won the last 2 sessions, and here we are, back to episode 2. So yeah,
dude, I have you mentioned bubbling, bro. I have a good story about the first tournament I've ever played in. It's like I'm in college still. I'm still like relatively new to poker. I've played a little bit in London. I come back to the States. I find out about like the WSOP circuits. So I drive like 2.5 hours. I think it was to Elgin actually, exactly where the WSOP is now. And I get there, I'm like so excited. I fire one bullet. I make it all the way to the bubble. I'm texting my friends. I'm like, "Oh, I'm there. Like I'm like so close to making the money. Like this is awesome. I'm going to like have a ring by the end of this." It's literally like 55 get paid, 56 are left. We're going hand by hand right now. I have eights. I have eights in the big blind. Uh Early position, somebody like raises, small blind calls. I have eights. I just call. I'm like, it's not the worst like place to be, right? Like, I guess you could argue for a fold, maybe like just jam it in there if you're feeling like
definitely not jam. If you are you covered, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, no, I was like
Yeah,
middle. The small blind had less than me, and then the guy who raised was like very deep stack.
yeah.
So
I
maybe
think defends okay. Defends
defend
okay.
is okay. You'd probably lean fold though. There.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think I think defend is like not egregious, but I think like I think it's one of these things I was talking to this about like with James recently. It's like
Yeah.
you might think a play is like theoretically good, but if you can't account for your behavior after you make the play, so if you know that you're just going to spew on like a low board and you can't fold, then you should fold eights, right?
Okay.
But it's anyway, yeah, carry on.
All right. So I might have blundered there, but anyway, the flop comes down 8-4-3, two clubs, eight
You got
four three. I have
nuts.
the
Yeah.
absolute so cold nuts. Uh, Small blind checks. I don't take any chances. I just donk bet. Like that's might be fishy there. Maybe a check raise is more in order. I donk bet like half pot, maybe 3/4 pot. Pre-flop raiser calls and the small blind folds. So now it's just I'm the effective stack at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Turn comes a blank. It was like a 10. 10 doesn't complete the flush draw. I just jam right there. And this big stack, he's like fucking awing and awing. He's like putting his hands on his head. He's like, like so many times. I was like, dude, just fold your hand. Like in my head, I'm just looking at the board. Dude, just fold, please fold, please fold. Like I know I'm good here, but just fold. And his exact words were, I know this is a terrible call, but I call. And he puts his chips in the middle. He flips over king, queen of clubs. He's on the flush draw, of course. And I was like, all right, please, just one time, beta club, and I'll be like golden. I can like just cruise to the final table. But on the river, a club. I'm
Oh, God.
devastated. I'm probably like 21, very newly 21. I'm just staring at the board, and then the announcer goes, "All right, everybody, we have 55 left," and everyone starts clapping, and I'm just sitting there like, I am never playing a tournament ever again. This sucks. I just spent 6 hours sitting here, and I'm not going to get $1 out of this. I just lost like $400,
Oh my
and
god.
yeah, that was my first tournament I've ever played. Pure bubble
God
boy.
damn. God
Yeah,
damn, man. Pure bubbled it. And I don't think you played it bad. You didn't make any mistakes post. Like you know, like you don't you honestly you want the action because even though it's like your first tournament and it doesn't feel good, the
Mhm.
future game review of you winning that pot, like you might have one of the biggest stacks in the tournament after that, after the bubble as
Yeah,
well. So you know, and that ICM wise, like you having a big stack there compared to just getting over into the money, like you almost guarantee a min cash, but on the other side of it, you might like win it, right?
yeah,
So
that's true.
it's tough to take that. That's a real tough one.
I remember that.
Talking about hand history, so you said you got a hand for us for this week, right? That you played.
Yeah, yeah. There
All
was a
right,
good
this
hand that I was wanted to go over.
sounds very much in the streets, by the way. I think if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, all right. So I'm about 35 big blinds deep. I'm under the gun +1, and I min raise with pocket sixes.
Mm-hmm.
The big blind is the only guy who's involved, and he calls. The flop comes down 10-9-2 rainbow. Uh, he checks, and I check behind. I'm not sure where that lies, but
That's fine, yeah.
the, yeah, the turn comes down to 10 and brings a flush draw, and he bets 2.5 big blinds there, and I min raise it to 5 big blinds.
Why?
And I'll
Why do you
justify it
raise?
afterwards. I'll justify it afterwards.
Oh,
But
okay, all right.
he calls, and then the river comes the 4 of diamonds. He checks, and then I check behind immediately. Right, the flush draw gets there. I can't bet there,
Mm-hmm.
and then he shows pocket fours,
Oh, so
and
he drilled the boat.
he drilled the boat on the river. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So I
Oh
was
my
ahead
god.
all the way. So my min raise was valid there, but the reason is like when you're playing an aggressive opponent in position, especially, right? Like if you toss in that like min raise there, right? This is called MinBet Poker, right? The podcast, MinBet
Yeah,
Poker
it is
podcast,
the
right?
the
Like this is
poker.
where it
Yeah.
actually becomes useful. It's like I'm investing 2.5 big blinds there so that he doesn't fire off again on that river, right? Like if he is on that flush draw, it'll become really easy for me. He might check the flush draw as well, but like if he hits it, he's just gonna jam it, right? Like it's really gonna stop him from bluffing that river if he's on a bluff. And also, I think he's like aggressive enough to where would call with like some ace highs, like ace jack high, ace 10 high. Um, yeah. So that's the justification for the min bet there. But I know that's probably fundamentally and could be an error, but yeah.
I'm gonna say. I mean, look, what I really want to say is that when you raise the turn, you only get called by better and you fold his bluffs. But obviously, you
Yeah.
don't because you got called by worse. So what the fuck do I know, man? Honestly, when we do like UK hand reviews and US hand reviews, it's like completely. It's like different game. You know, I
Yeah.
don't know what that guy was thinking. He's obviously clearly thought you were full of shit and was like, "Fuck this kid."
Yeah.
And I found a lot of that in Texas. I don't know about you, what about you, but I definitely saw like people just call my raises because they're like, "Oh fuck you, you're a kid," or "Fuck you, I don't believe you." And it's like, oh, okay, like sure, I've got the nuts, but okay, you know.
I think the
Um,
proportion of times that I got called by second pair or like maybe even worse, like third, fourth pair in the US is just like 100 times bigger than when I got called by like second, third pair when I was in the UK. I don't know if that's how you feel. Like it's not that uncommon where you get called down like 2 or 3 streets with second pair,
in the
depending on
US,
the
you
game
mean?
that you're in. Huh?
In the US?
In the US, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd agree that you can go very thin in the US. I think in the UK, people are just too tight, man. Like you can't do that. Like when you raise the turn there and you get called, you're just dead. And maybe
Yeah.
even a six is no good. Yeah, like you're just dead. And in the US, obviously, you can raise and get called by hands you crush. Like apparently,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I mean, look, I'm sure people might butcher you for that, but it's clearly a good play because it worked. I guess just don't let him hit the two outer. It's
I don't
fucking
know,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. This isn't really a hand hit review as much as it is a floor ruling. But I don't know if you remember, but in Texas they let you play your cards face up, right?
Mhm.
Including if a dealer misdeals to you, you can flip the cards flipped over. You can play it no matter what it is. If you say I want to play this card, you play it, and then if you want to swap it, they can swap. So we're playing in the casino, and it's my mate James who is he gets an ace dealt to him, and it's face up, and we say like, "Hey, can he play this card?" And there's like a big commotion, and I think before the decision was made, somebody already opened. So like it's 1-2, someone opened 6, and the floor say you can, but you can't take an aggressive action. So he interprets that, which is probably the same way I did, as like, oh, you can't raise now, you can only call. You've got one card face down that's yours. You've got one ace of hearts that's face up. So he just calls, and it goes through to the flop, and he has aces. Yeah, in fact, has aces, which is funny. And the flop was like King Jack 9, so not a great board. And as he's like, so I think he goes bet, and he wants to raise, and as he tries to raise, the floor said, no, you can't make an aggressive action for the entire hand. Like that's so insane, man.
That's the worst ruling I think I've ever heard in a casino.
You'd be surprised. I put it on my Instagram, and a lot of pros, I think probably about 90% of professionals I know, they all put horrendous rule in, bad rule in.
Yeah.
Then there's a couple that said, hey, like you should have got a card dealt to him instead of playing it face up, which is like whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the idea, the logic that you're at disadvantage already, and then you also have to like you can't raise. Like you wouldn't play aces then. You wouldn't have any hand. You would just not have your hand.
Yeah. You would always just return it back to the dealer, which I guess that's what they're trying to promote. That's like I see why they're trying to do that, but like they also didn't make it clear enough at the beginning, it seems like. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play there if that's the
It's
ruling that
dude. It's a very bad card room. It's the
Yeah.
UK. I mean, you don't obviously spoke about this at length. I don't like UK poker, but it was a crazy session. And then there was a session where even like me and James both just thought, man, like UK poker's so dead. The rake's too high, and like when we played like 5-10, the rake's 5% to 25. You know, you're taking off like 500, 600 off the table an hour.
Wait, 5% up to $25?
Up to £20, yeah.
Jeez.
You can't beat it. It's almost unbeatable.
Yeah. That's actually unreal.
Yeah.
And you guys play some big pots too, right? No.
We play big pots. I mean, it's like I guess like from our perspective, it's just like every room's got high rate. The rooms aren't very well run. Like they can't build good games. Like this Napoleon's is where I play a lot. They build good games, to be fair to them, but their rate's really high. The other place, they can't make good games. The rate's reasonable, but their floor is terrible. Like the general attitude of like some of the people that work there as well. Like they're not friendly to players. I know for a fact, like there was a time when I was playing there, and there were some Chinese students who just literally just rocked up from. I think they went to another university for a little bit, and they came to Sheffield, and they were spinners, man. They were real spinners. They wanted to gamble. Like the first night there, we were drinking Coronas. Like I opened the guy 3-bet, I 4-bet jam. He like gives me the spin with the Queen 10-0. You know, like we're just spinning. And I thought, oh, this is great. There was like a whole group of them, and I thought this is great for the games, right? Like some guys who really want to gamble and have fun. And then a reg was like rude to one of them. Like one of them won a pot where they played like a hand very strange. Like maybe they like called a check raise or like some shit gut shot or something and drilled it. I don't know what they did, but the guy made fun of the hand the way they played it, and they just said, "Oh fuck this, we're never playing here again." And
terrible.
And we lost like 5 or 6 people who were great for the game because some reg is just a salty, moany guy. Like it's really sad.
He's a misreg.
Miser, a real, an actual, even I think it's beyond a miser because I think I'm a misreg at times. I'm definitely misreg. I don't think I'd ever do like what he did to spinners, you know. So then we have private games here. Again, the private games are horrendous because they are like the smoking, so you can't breathe. The rake's insanely high, and there's a good chance that you're going to get scummed as well. There's always that free roll that you lose money because of cheating or something dodgy. So
really,
yeah, it's tough out here, man. Like you don't get it. You came here for a few months and span around at Empire and ran like the sun and was like, oh, UK poker's amazing.
London poker's amazing. It was amazing to me at the time.
I've asked people, dude. They say Empire's dead.
Yeah, that's. I can't imagine. It was bumping when I was there.
Yeah. Maybe you were the action.
Yeah, as soon as I left, everyone else left too.
Oh, I'm gonna go play the Vic. Fuck this place.
Yeah.
I guess this leads to a good question because I think you from the US as well. Like, do you internally class poker as gambling? do you think you're a gambler when you go and play?
This is actually like my most passionate topic. If you ask me
Here
this
we
question,
go.
I will always get fired up.
Let's
But
go.
I'm a firm believer that poker in and of itself is not gambling. Poker can be a means to gamble, like you saw in Texas, right? Where they don't have casinos. There's some guys that just go in there and literally just spin buttons. They just see their cards and just like press buttons. Literally, they just bet, all in, whatever. That's gambling. But poker in and of itself is not, because there's people that make livings off of this, right? There's a lot of people that make livings off of this. It's the same way that there are people that make living off the stock market, right? Like in the long run, in the stock market, you are expected to make money. And if you can beat like online games like you have, and like you can beat like if you can prove that you're a winning player, then I think uh investing in someone's poker ability is a better investment than investing in the S&P 500. That's my take.
Okay.
You know?
Are you going to buy my action then for this to be a piece?
I said a good player, Cam. I said a good player. No, but honestly, like if I could have gotten a piece of your action in Texas, like I know that you're head and shoulders above like the competition there. So like I would love to have like
I
swapped
appreciate it,
10% or
man.
something, you know,
Yeah.
like the returns that you're getting on your investment there are, in my opinion, expected value wise higher than any day on the stock market. Yeah.
Damn, that's
And
all
like
right.
if you want to say that the stock market is gambling and investing is gambling, then sure, then poker is gambling. But there's people that just make too much money playing poker that like I
So what
can't.
do you classify it as then? Like they're like an athlete
I think it's investing. That's like the term that I would,
investing, right?
like when
Okay.
you're playing poker, like not when I'm spinning. You know, like when I was playing in Texas, and I was like
Oh,
doing
wait,
threes.
no, I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this
Yeah,
up. This is on my response.
yeah, like that was me using poker as a means to gamble, right? Like I'm just like I'll have pocket threes, like I'm with my friends, Modelo's are flowing, like it's only like a couple hundred, $100. I'll just ship it in there, right? And I got it in good, like so.
You were good. You were ahead.
Yeah,
You
I
dude, you
was
made
so ahead.
quads. You
Yeah,
made
yeah.
fucking quads.
Did we ever discuss this hand or?
No, you tell it. So you were deeper than 100. So don't let him say 100 as a way of deferring responsibility.
All
You were
right,
at
so I was
least
like 100. I
200.
was like 100 deep.
Two
Like
no, $200 deep. But carry on.
yeah.
You start it. Okay.
All right.
Set the scene and go
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
no. Actually, we'll set the scene first. So, like, this entire game, like, it's been going very, very well. This was like early on. Cam and I had just met, and we're just sitting down at like a 1-2 table. We're just having fun, drinking Modelo's. It's like late at night. The first hand that I think got me started was I tried bluffing with 2-7, and the board was like ace, jack, six, and then the turn came a jack. I like three bet pre-flop. I c bet on the flop, and then this one guy just called me all the way down on the on the turn. I jam, and then he calls and he's like, "Do you have a jack?" And I say, "How many times do you want to run this?" He was like, "I just have an ace." And I was like, "How many times do you want to run this?" And then I was like, "Wait, if you have an ace, I'm drawing dead. I'm drawing stone cold dead." So I was like, "Just run it once, run it once." So like after that, like everyone else was just like immediately like their ears perked up like this. They're like, all right, like this is a good game. This guy's just punting money, which I
Yeah.
was. I was just there to have fun. Like it's just a 1-2 game for me. It was just
I'll say two things. I'll say that there was a good table. Everybody was chatting and like talking. I think the
yeah,
funniest thing that I remember, because you sat to like my left, I think, is you were just like doing your head in with this seven deuce into this guy, like some kid who could barely speak English. Right? He was just like quiet, like clearly sniping all of us who were drinking. And he
yeah,
just called down and said, "Do you have a jack?" And it's like, you're dead, and you show the seven deuce, and nobody gives a fuck. Everybody's still just talking, having cheers,
yeah.
drinking, and you're like trying to do something funny to the table. And only I saw it, and I was just like, "What the fuck is going
Yeah.
on?" That got people perked up, and then I triple barreled into that guy. I don't know if you remember. I barreled into like ace king, and then
Yeah,
I showed it as well. Ace high, and I showed it, and the guy got tilted. Like, the guy was
yeah,
really deep and quite aggressive. Like he didn't like that. And yeah, like I said, these two things got the game going. So yeah, carry on. Right,
yeah.
so
So
you strung your
essentially,
brains in.
yeah. This leads up to this one hand where I'm just like people just think of me that I'm a psycho, right? And if I'll say one thing, this will be the only useful advice I'll give. If you're ever going to shove seven deuce, shove it early in the session. Shove it early in the session, and then the rest of the session you'll get called very light. So like you have aces, just always. You can't flat with aces pre-flop there. You just jam it, and people will call you so light. So that's my only useful piece of advice. Anyways, back to like
Okay.
spinning. I pick up pocket threes like probably under the gun +1 for about 100. We'll just say it's 100.
No. It was like 180. It was like
Yeah.
180 close to 200, but you carry on.
And I just open jam. I open jam, like under the gun +1. Cam
No.
fold.
That's not what happened. No. That didn't happen at all.
Really?
Yeah. You forgot the hand, bro. You did not open jam. You opened
Yeah.
call. James free bet. There was a call.
Yeah.
You jammed. Then you just like shipped it in for like no
Yeah.
forward equity because I think there was probably a straddle on, and I think you must have opened to like 15. James made
Okay.
it like 75 or 80, and then you jam like 160, which is like no forward equity.
Yeah.
It goes
Okay.
call. Sorry, jam. It goes
Well,
jam.
there's fold equity. The guy in middle position could have folded. He could have gotten out of there for 15 or 35 or whatever. But he called.
The guy that was the guy who got you with the ace before, right?
Yeah.
That guy got you as well. There
Yeah.
was 4 ways. The
Four
guy
ways.
who's tilted at me, he sticks it in
Yeah.
with ace king.
Yep.
James, who's super confused, right? Because he had a cold caller, you've jammed, he's
Yeah.
jammed. He
Yeah.
sticks it in with a king jack suited.
Yep.
Then the guy who was behind, who had ace king, he was trapping. He was
Yeah.
playing ace king really funky, and he calls. So we're
Yeah.
all in 4 ways. The pot's like 1.4k, 5k. You carry on. So you're all
Yeah.
I wanted to correct that because don't act like you just jammed it blind or some shit. You fucking
You can't
span.
let me get away with it. Yeah.
No.
I actually completely forgot. Yeah. But yeah, no, I go around the table asking, I was like, do you have a pair? And the first guy's like, no, I don't have a pair. I asked James, I'm like, James, do you have a pair? He's like, no, I don't have a pair. I was like, last guy, do you have a pair? He's like, no, I don't have a pair. I take my threes, I put him face down on the ground. I'm like, let's go. I got it in so good. Yeah, ace king, king jack of hearts, and ace king as well. And everyone's standing up at the table at this point. The flop comes down like 3, 5, 7 or something. I don't even remember the other cards. I know that there was a 3. I hit a set, but there's 2 hearts. So I was like, just fade a heart, fade a heart. The turn comes a brick, like queen of clubs, and then the river comes down a heart. But the 3 of hearts. It takes everyone a minute to process what's happening, and then everyone just starts jumping around. It was
Crazy,
awesome.
man. I went crazy, dude. That was the funniest fucking hand I've ever seen. You got it in so good 4 ways.
I got it in so good, yeah.
So fucking good. So you gambled and you won.
Anyways, yeah. That was gambling.
That was real gambling. That was real spinning.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I want to disagree. I really want to, from what I've seen, I really want to disagree, but it's really hard because I'm an incredibly risk averse person. Like I think I sports bet one time in my life, which was basically going on a guy who did analytics at uni. So he was a guy who did show me results and graphs and stuff, and that he was actually a winning sports bettor. So I followed him for a month, where we did NBA games. He did like the over-unders, and he was like super in tune with like players scoring results and shit. So I think I put in 300 into his bets, and he was putting in like thousands, and we ran it. It was like I don't know what you guys call it, like a parlay.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of parlays. So we won the first 2. So I turned the 300 into like 1.8 or 9k.
Wow.
And I didn't take it out. I just left it with him because I really thought this could go somewhere like huge. So he did it again. I remember for one series of NBA games, and it was over like 2 or 3 days, and there was like 15 games or something stupid, like some crazy amount of games, and they all came in, dude. Up until like it wasn't like 15, it was like 10 games. They all came into the last one. This is insane, right? This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is like not a poker story. All came into the last game. I remember it was a Lakers against somebody. This was like way before Braun. This was like 2017 or 18. And it all comes in. I'm thinking, I remember the 1.9k would have gone to maybe 6k or 7k. So I was going to scoop. And I remember telling myself, I'm going to take this money, and this is like the biggest win up ever. And I'm a college kid. This would like elevate my lifestyle like so nicely, man. No more living off ramen and shit food. Like I could actually live. So it's on the last game, and the score's close. So it doesn't a lot of these over-unders were crushing. Like he was like well ahead of it, like doing really well, like running very well as well, obviously. It was the Lakers against somebody, they're both shit, and the scores were like not close. It was like half time, actually. And he was watching in a sports bar near where my accommodation was. I'm just like, oh fuck this! Like, he managed to get the it was like a casino sports bar, so they put all the games on for you. So I ran down there. It's like 2 a.m. I get in, and he's sat there, his like head in his hands for me, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, they're catching up. We're catching up. We're getting really close. It's the fourth quarter. I think it goes down to it. We need 1 point. 1 point, last minute, but the Lakers are getting blown out, so they're dribbling the ball out now. So we're there, like sat down, like we like fucking, we can't believe this. This is over. We came so fucking close. 1 point for all this money. Like this is the absolute disaster. Like I'm just devastated. And then something happens. It was like an off-ball technical where like two guys were fighting, like the center and one of their team, and the center gets the foul, so he gets the free throws. He gets 2 free throws.
Oh no.
We scream, man. We jump up like, holy shit, this is it. Let's fucking go. The guy walks up. I had a bad feeling straight away. I'm a pessimist, dude. I'm a risk-averse pessimist, the worst kind of person. I didn't feel good. My friend was going crazy. He was like, this. He was like, oh, like this is such a good chance this is going to go in. Like, fucking amazing. What a great spot. The guy misses the first one. I'm just like, oh, this is not going to go in, man. This is devastating. Goes again, misses the second one, man. I dropped to the floor, dude. I couldn't believe it. All those sweats just gone. And just devastating. One fucking free throw, man, by some. It was some like fat center. I can't remember his name. But fuck that guy, man. Like 2 free throws, just make one. Like you're getting blown out. Like you got no pressure. There's zero pressure on this guy, right? It's not like it's a close game, like championship points. The guy fucking missed both, and like I was done with sports betting. I was like, fuck this shit, man. Like the kid who I was doing it with, like he was fucking devastated, and I think he did his brains in last time I checked. But that's just a bad beat, man. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I'm sure it's plus EV bets that I was taking, like good spots. But so ever since then, I'm a very risk-averse person. Like when I play online, I always have a bankroll. Even in live, I do have a bankroll. I have limits. I always try and sell action when I can. Try and like always have a very strong bankroll so I can take those swings because I know how brutal they can be. I don't know. Some days I look at poker, like when I was playing the game with Jagger, where it's the 10, 20, 40, 80, 160 on. And I think this is gambling. This is pure gambling. We're in a slot machine here and we're just fucking pulling the lever. And then there's other times when I was playing online every day and I was like, I'm an investment and I'm investing in a skill. And I'm slowly printing, chipping away. I don't know if there's like an answer. I think it's maybe in between somewhere.
I think online is where you really see that like it can really be investing because in live you're only seeing what like 20 25 hands an hour at best, right? So like the variance is just so wide with live poker, but when you're playing online you can see like 100,000 hands, 200,000 hands, 1 million hands. Like you're gonna know if you're a winning player or not.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, you can like to obviously reduce the luck factor. You play more. Like, it's quite simply the idea, right? Is if you play more and you can do that online and live, you can't. Like you said, you play like very small sessions, very small samples, which always makes me laugh when I meet people and the live players and like, oh, I'm playing so well, that's why I'm winning so much. It's like, no, you're probably playing well. Like I'm not saying everybody plays bad, but a lot of these people like they don't understand how well they're running, and that's why I think I'm very self-aware in the fact that I've had such a great run since Texas. Like I'm playing them fine, but I'm running fucking hot, dude. Like I can't miss. Like and it's a really nice spot because that's what it's about, right? No one gives a shit as long as you run well. That's all you need to do.
That's true, yeah.
And you just keep ascending. You as long as you make good decisions and get in the good games and you keep running well. Like that's how you said. You talk about these people who make so much money. Like you think like Negreanu and all these people, they didn't run well in big spots. Like they ran fucking well in big pivotal spots. And then on the flip side, there's a load of people who are great players that are fucking not playing anymore. They're working at like McKinsey or somewhere, doing a very nice job, but they don't play poker anymore because they got killed in a big game where they played fantastic but just ran bad.
Yeah,
and that's just reality of poker. It's a brutal reality, though. So they call it survivorship bias, right? Like you only hear from the winners in poker. You don't really hear from the losers.
That's true. Yeah. You brought up a good point though about game selection. When we were playing in Texas, like watching Cam choose his games was actually very eye-opening. It's honestly like for me, whenever I went, I used to just sit down at like a 1-3 or 2-5, and I'd just play for a little bit. If the action wasn't great, I'd just go ask for a table change. But the way that Cam plays is that like he walks in there, he knows basically everyone there within like a week of being there. He like recognizes faces. He's like, oh, this person's a spinner. This person doesn't know like what a good hand looks like. And then he would just follow them around. He'd be like, oh, I need to get to that game. I need to get to that game, which is honestly very good. Like poker is people think that poker isn't that, but poker is 100% that, where you're trying to get into like the best games possible, because like the difference between a good game and a bad game is the difference between you being a losing player and a winning player, you know? So
Yeah, 1,000%. Like that's one thing with me and James were like laughing about, because he was just like, "Oh, you ran so good that trip. Like you ran pure." And I was like, "I definitely did. Never said I didn't." But I think a huge part of how well I did was selection. It was it was walking around the room and seeing I don't want to say her name, but the lady who was clearly had an interesting profession, probably, maybe. And she
yeah,
was spinning. She had drinks everywhere, shouting. I'm like, get me in that game. I want to be in that game. And I told the floor, I said, I'll sit where you need me to sit to wait, but I need to be in that game. And they're super great at the lodge. Like they're amazing. And they're like, yeah, we'll get you in that table. Like, dude, don't worry. And like you said, I think that's a big part. Is like I got there, and for like the first few days, just meet everybody and get to know everybody nice. Like got on good terms with the floor, the staff, dealers. So I think the guy pulled some strings to get me in that table. And I sat down and I just fucking span, dude. And like, I obviously, like I said, like, yeah, walking around and picking tables is huge. And
yeah,
I think you probably don't realize as much because you're in the US and you have an abundance of good games. If you wanted to right now, dude, you could fucking get in your car, you could drive and
yeah.
find a good game in a few hours at max. In the
That's
UK, I have to be super like careful where I spend my time because the rate's too high and the games aren't good. So I get murdered, right? Whereas you probably don't. You can afford to sit in a bad game and maybe still win pretty well and do okay because you're a good player. Maybe it's not optimal. Maybe there's like other optimal spots to sit in where you couldn't increase your win rate, but you're going to be fine. Whereas in the UK, especially in Sheffield in these games, we're just losing money. I'm actually losing money by sitting in some games because like everybody's fucking nits. Like the rate's incredibly high. Like it's just a killer. So
yeah. That just sounds like not fun poker, honestly. Yeah, it's like
listen, dude, I'm sure one day we'll get you down here, dude. We'll get you down here. You can have a look at the. I mean, there's definitely good games. That's I wouldn't be playing poker otherwise, but I have to be. I'm always willing to go home because I don't think I should ever play in a game where I'm not beating like the rake, which is
yeah,
like I think that's one thing James is very good at as well. Like knowing that look, this game is just like we're winning like one big blind per hour because everybody's too tight. People aren't very deep. Um, but then, dude, you're in the States, man. Like Vegas, Texas, which I've been like, that wasn't a problem. I know you said
yeah.
that my game section was good, but there was 5 or 6 tables in that room where I could have sat and been happy. The
Yeah.
PLO with the spinners, like there was just so many fucking good games on that. It was ridiculous.
I think it's like the complete opposite of Sheffield. It's like the amount of good games that you could sit down in Texas, there's like one that's like not good. And then
Yeah,
in Sheffield it's like they're all not good, but there's one, maybe one that is
there's
good.
maybe
Yeah.
one that comes up and you have to really try hard to get a seat in it, and you have to keep people happy, which is a good
Yeah.
skill, but it's not really what you want to be doing all the time. And also, like I said, the complete opposite. Texas is the rate's incredibly good, $11
Yeah.
an hour. Here, it's like I said, 25 up to 5, like in the bigger games, and like it's just you can't beat it. Some games you generally can't beat the rate. So, yeah, I think your points go about poker. I think it's not gambling, it's investing, and it's a lot of skills compiled into one. Right? It's like soft skills, like social skills, game selection, knowledge, strategy about the game theory, exploitive play. So being able to like notice opponents and being able to like adjust your game. Then this molds into one person, and you like you said, yes, you're an investment product. Like I think deep down everybody knows if they're winning or not.
Yeah.
Whether they're self aware enough to like address it properly is another thing. But I don't. Again, in the US, everywhere I've played, pretty much everybody was super self aware. They knew they were
Yeah.
losing, and they're happy to be a loser. Like they're just playing for fun.
I think that was just a Texas exclusive.
And
But I feel like
Vegas,
huh?
Vegas as well.
Oh,
Vegas as
really?
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like with like the young crowd that I hang out with, like when I talk to them, they're like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I win money, I win money." But
Really?
yeah,
Maybe
I
they
think
are.
huh?
Maybe they are.
That's true. That's true. I will say, like, younger players are generally more well studied than the older players because, like, once you reach like, I haven't seen like a guy who's like 50 plus that's like really studying that much. They do have like experience, but like
Yeah.
the old guys, they're just like they're limping aces, they're limping ace king, like, and I feel like they're just losing money that way. But maybe not. Maybe
Maybe not. Like it's. I think theory is the least important thing in all those things that we like talked about. I think if you're somebody that can pick great games, you're very good social skills, you're very good at exploiting people, you'll win a lot of money. The theory thing is to battle people who are good and who are like you're gonna not be able to exploit them. Then you're gonna really struggle. But dude, your friends, whoever you speak about, they could be winning. You're in the
yeah,
US.
yeah.
It's very. I don't think it's very difficult to make a living at 2.5. I really don't. I think
It's a
it's.
low bar.
It's not. It's. I want to say it's low. But you've got such an abundance of games. I think it's. I think you can make like a nice salary playing 2.5. I'm not saying you should do it. I think it's always better to have a job and play 2.5 because you can do it anyway, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to give up one to do the other. Like once you're comfortable in your job, I'm pretty sure you'll probably play a lot more.
yeah.
But like, so in the UK, it's just not a thing, man. Everybody thinks they're fucking winning. Everybody thinks they're amazing. We're playing 1-2 or 2-5, 5-10 with the rakes incredibly high. Yeah, like the people aren't winning as much as they think here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Yeah. I guess it's least nice is the next topic. So, how did you address your poker to your family and friends?
Um, that's a good question. There's like different ways that you approach it, right? When you're talking to someone that knows poker, it's easier to talk about because like you can just tell them about like how you play and everything, and like you could tell them numbers as well, which is like something that's generally like not shared like very openly, right? Like no one says numbers, but like when they understand poker, I don't mind opening up and saying numbers with them as well. But if someone doesn't understand poker, I just tend to just like not even talk about it. I prefer to not talk about it, right? So I just started work this past week, and like it's all networking. Everyone's just asking you like, what do you like to do for fun? What do you like? How do you spend your weekends? And like, if I'm honest, like, what do we do after work? I play poker. What do I do after on the weekends? I play poker. But like, I'm never going to talk about that with someone who hasn't showed me a little bit. Like, if they say that they sports bet, if they say that like they do something like along those lines, I'll be more like, oh, maybe I can talk to them about that. But like, generally I'm just like, oh yeah, like I played pickleball, which I did for like an hour or something. I'm like, yeah, I played pickleball, very low key weekend, just rested up, like sat around, didn't do much. And yeah, it's tough because again, like this goes back to is poker gambling. I feel like a lot of people, especially in the corporate world, they just think that like poker is the same. It's in a casino. It's the same thing as playing blackjack. It's the same thing as playing slots. Like I don't see it that way, but if they do, I'm not going to persuade them within like a 5 minute like happy hour chat. So I'm not gonna bring it up in that sense. But it's interesting. I want to hear about what you think because you work in the poker space as well. So like I feel like there it's definitely more like easier to talk about there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I remember when I first started, like, kind of openly sharing that I play poker with my parents and like close friends that went in poker. Close friends didn't really give a shit. I do think a lot of them still to this day think it's degeneracy gambling, and which is very interesting. And I try to I try and tell them like what you said. I think your investing thing is really true and it's correct. It's like it's the equivalent of invest. It's like day trading. It's very similar to these kind of skills. It's the very same profession, just done a different way. They some of them get it, most of them don't. My family like my mum and dad. My dad actually was always for it. He always kind of understood like a baseline about poker. I think from pop culture. I think he knew. I don't know if he just like watched like the main event on TV or some stuff, but he knew that like there's a reason why the guys are the same people every year winning, and so
Yeah.
like there's skill involved. So he was always for it, even when I first started learning it. My mum was very much just like, "Oh, this is degeneracy gambling. Oh my god, I've lost my kid. Like you're gonna gamble all your money away." And then once I think I showed her my online graphs and I explained the process of how I literally would finish my job every day, get back home, 2-3 hours every day online, like sat there. Even if I had to like do other stuff socially, like because I didn't want to like kill my social life, I'd go out, come home at like 9, 10, be here till 1. It's like I got my reps in. That's the way I looked at it every day. So I showed her the graph, which was like 500,000 hands. Made like a couple of $1,000. Like I explained the lines. So I explained like this isn't just luck. This is that the yellow line is obviously luck, which is like your EV. So EV your skill, sorry, in the green line is where you're actually running your luck,
You're all in
and
adjusted, right?
all in adjusters. So like you can kind of get a good gauge for whether you're winning or losing through that. And she was like, yeah. Once my mum knew I was making money, she turned around completely, like complete U-turn, and was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is fine then. Like, not for it completely, but like relatively okay with it. And yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. But then I used to work in the poker industry. Now I work in it, it's way more accepted than with my friends. Because before I was working for a startup, which was a SaaS startup, like everybody thought it was degeneracy. Like everybody thought it was fucking bad. Like and like it was bad for me. Now I've got a job in poker and I play poker. Like they kind of get it a little bit more. So
Yeah.
it's
That's
it's slow.
that's the dream, a job in poker, right?
Well, what do you think your parents will say if you explain your like whole poker situation to them? Like, what do you think your parents will say if
Yeah.
you explain the freeze hand?
They won't hear about the threes hand. Um, Actually, when I started playing, I was in London, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, like at that point, I was running really well. I was playing more fundamentally sound than I was playing in Texas, right? So, um, like I went up pretty good, like four figures, healthy four figures. I call my dad one day. I'm like, all right, dad, like I've been playing poker a little bit. I've been doing well. Like I went up this amount and like, like I like doing it. I'm just doing it. I'm getting by in London. And he was furious. Like he's like, I'm getting on a plane and you're never gonna step foot in that casino again. Like you're never going back, like all this stuff. But like after an hour of talking with him, he was actually like he came back down to earth and then he told me a funny story that my grandpa actually he was serving in the army and he played poker with some of like the US uh like army members, I guess, right? And he won so much money that apparently he had like an entire duffel bag full of money that he bought like the plot of land for like where he started his family. So after I
Oh
heard that story, I
damn.
was like, it's in my blood, it's in my blood. I was going crazy. I was like, I
Family
made sure that
tradition.
like eventually he understood, but like yeah, the
Yeah.
beginning like hour was just him just telling me never to gamble, never to do anything like that. But yeah, I think parents are generally understanding. Like if you go in with the approach that you did, right? Like you took a better approach than I did, but like show them graphs, right? Like explain to them how like you can win in the long run. Then it's pretty hard to argue, right? Like you've
Yeah.
invested so much time, you've like learned a lot. Yeah,
I think
I
your
can't.
point. Your dad seems like a very very measured person, very reasonable person. To be fair, he went from I'm flying over there and dragging your ass out of that fucking casino to like, oh, okay, like it's fine actually. Like I get it.
Yeah,
Which is,
yeah,
yeah, I think with like, my dad, like we had to be fair. So I think he had a general understanding of poker before, like, not like playing or anything, but just like pop culture. And then during lockdown, when we were at home, so like I was there with him, like we were watching WPT final tables because they were on TV, which is quite cool. Now I like working for them, but we were just watching like a whole bunch of them because he got really into it, like watching it. And then I'd explain to him what's going on, like why this guy made a great play, why this guy didn't. And obviously WPT is like super high production, like amazing tables. They have the Hublot watches, the money, the models walking around, the crowd, like the lights. Like that is probably the premier final table, right? Like other than the main event final table, I think making
yeah,
a WPT championship final table is probably the next best thing. So we watched a bunch of those, like the old ones and new ones, and he was like, "Yeah, poker's like a real thing." I'm like, "Yeah, it definitely is." And then
yeah.
yeah, I think my biggest issue has always been with girls. Are like, so girlfriends I've had. One I'm speaking to now, she thinks it's just complete gambling. She calls me like a degenerate, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because like now, like tonight, she was like, "Where are you?" Like, and I'm like, I'm playing poker. She's like, "You're always in the fucking casino." I'm like,
What's your
"Yeah."
response? Like how do you respond to that though?
We text a bit more because this is a new one I'm speaking to. We text a bit more, talking about like the fact that like I'm playing poker in a casino, but then we explained the concept of like it's an investment. I think word by word I actually said it's an investment like you did. It's
Really?
an
Okay.
investment. Yeah, so you were kind of really good with that in that terminology. Some get it. Like I don't know if you'll ever get it. Some people don't. But like it's funny. The Asian girlfriends I've had before have always got it or like
Yeah.
liked it to the point where one wanted to sit and watch me play, which was very bad. I didn't like that. Like I was like, you
There's
don't do
always one
that.
guy at the casino with their girlfriend
It's always
watching
the
them
fucking fish,
slowly.
man. It's always the guy you want to play with. You see,
Yeah,
if
that's
you
right.
see a dude with his like wife behind or girlfriend behind him, like sat
Yeah.
there, and he's got some beers, that's the game. That's the table we want to set. But I was that guy. Because she was just sat there, like she's like super interested in it. She's like, I don't know whether his family must have played it or something. But then like she got bored after like a few minutes. I did a really sick bluff. I remember, like I fucking barreled a gut shot and I overbet the river, and the guy folded. And I tried to show her, I said, look, I didn't have anything. And she just like didn't give a fuck. She was like too busy looking at the roulette or something. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I
That's
said, fuck
definitely
this. I said, fuck this. I'm going home. Like, no, we're not doing this ever again. But that will probably be the one biggest issue. I don't know if you've ever had that, like explaining to like a girl, like or somebody you want to kind of get with intimately, like this is what I do a lot of my time, and this is what I'm gonna do. Like you're not gonna stop me doing this. I don't know how you'd ever like if that's a roadblock.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I just if they don't understand it, I don't ever try to like persuade them, right? Unless
Right,
it's like my mom. Unless they're
let's
like,
say you meet a 9 out of 10. She fits your
all right, all
personality completely. She's like fucking Notre Dame alumni, fighting
right.
Irish.
I just quit poker at that point.
Really?
I
No
don't
way,
I don't
dude.
know. I don't know how you can like persuade someone. You know, I don't know how you could tell them, how you could show them that it's not gambling. Besides, like, I'll do everything that you did when you explained that you're to your parents, right? Like, show them
Mhm.
a graph, show them like what you do, explain to them like the game a little bit so they understand that it's not like roulette, right? Like after you, it's like layers to an onion, right? Like if you play for like at least like a month or like maybe a year, somewhere in that range, you understand that it's a different game than roulette.
Yeah.
Um, like
I remember
once you,
when I
yeah,
started Poker Stars, they actually so in your induction they explain to you where poker fits in that graph, like you said. So they have like roulette is pure gambling. There's
yeah,
zero skill. You can't fucking do anything. There's no skill in the numbers, which is funny because I know people who are in our local poker community who think they're winning roulette players. I fucking kid you not. They're guys. I think they have a strategy for roulette. It makes me want to fucking blow my brains out, dude, when I hear them talk about this shit. And they're just massive nits in poker. I don't get it, but so roulette, pure gambling.
yeah,
Then you have blackjack, which is like 75. So this was exactly what they said: 75% luck, and then 25% skill. 25% skill is, and you can very much narrow the house edge down to almost a flip, but it's never going to be a pure flip. Like you'll never get that juice, but it's close. If you play perfect strategy, whether they meant counting cards or something else, I don't know, but this is what they said. Then I think there was another one, maybe 50-50 was like,
baccarat,
it might have been Baccarat or it might have been sports betting, one of the two, where they were like, this is like a flip. Like, you're going to, we get a cut. And so it's supposed to be 50-50, but we get the cut, so it's losing. And
yeah,
then under that was poker, where it's 75% skill, 25% luck. So 75% skill, the better player is going to win over the long run.
yeah,
But in the short term, the bad player can win, which is what
yeah,
keeps it a thriving game
yeah.
compared to
No, I
most other
agree.
games. And then they said at the bottom of that, chess, 100% skill, 0% luck. And I thought that's a really great way of breaking it down.
Yeah,
That is the way I explain it to people, like my friend group or work group. That's the way I usually tell them.
yeah. No, I like that. I like that like analogy very, very
Yeah,
much.
close to chess, close to chess. So I always say it's kind of like chess.
Yeah,
Not
it's
really.
like chess with like a little bit of money and then
It's
sometimes
like
yeah,
chess, except you drink Modelo's and just jam your freeze in.
yeah,
You
exactly.
sack your queen because you're bored. You
Yeah,
want to feel
exactly,
something.
exactly. You sack your queen just to like feel something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I
Uh,
guess a good way to like wrap this one up. So like, what's your plans coming up now? You're a salary man. You're
yeah.
hard at work. You're suit and tie in the office. Fucking, what's your plans coming up?
I mean, right now I'm just focused on work. That's coming first. Like I said, normally I'm always like at the casino during like the weekdays, but I haven't gone during a single weekday. Like when I have time, of course, I'm gonna go and try to play whatever events, whatever games are good near me. So like this entire week, it's in the WSOPs in Elgin, so I'm gonna try to go back up there. Maybe this Saturday or sometime if I have time during the week, I'll try to go as well. But
Mhm.
um, gonna finish like all the onboarding, get on a project, meet everybody. Once I get more established, get like that routine going, I'll start probably playing in some games more regularly. Probably,
Okay.
I've heard Rivers is the best around here. That's my opinion as well. Like, I think Rivers, Des Plaines has the best games. Um,
What
yeah,
about
but when the
Chicago
WSOP,
charity games?
huh?
No, Chicago charity games.
Yeah, so I actually went to the charity games a week before before I started work, and I sat down at this table, and it was like six guys that were like 60 years and older, and they played all right. Like they weren't nothing like outstanding, but there's just one fish at the table, which is enough. One fish at the table is enough. Um, but it was just too slow. It was like 1-2. The rake is low key pretty high too. I don't
What
remember
was the
exactly.
rate? Okay, yeah, you
I
don't
don't
remember.
remember exactly, but it was higher than Rivers, what I remember. But it's also going to charity, so like,
Does it
so like,
actually go to charity though?
I'm not sure. I've heard mixed things. But I'm pretty sure that it goes to charity if they call it a charity poker game,
I don't know. I think
right?
that's the way of getting around the Illinois gambling rules, but maybe I don't know. That's a good
Maybe,
point.
yeah. But I was just like, this is not ideal. It's also 1-2. Like you can only buy in for 300, and when the rake's that high at 1-2, I don't feel good about it. Right? It's a harder game to beat than the same rake structure in a 2-5 game. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I just picked up pretty quickly from there, and I was like, I'm probably not going to come back unless it's like a weekend or like a good event going on. Um, but yeah,
Right.
I'm planning to make a trip out to Vegas, visit you when you're
Let's
out there
go.
over the
Let's go.
summer.
Bring the boy Reed as well. The boy wonder.
Yes,
That'll be fucking juice, man.
we'll have
Honestly,
some
yeah.
podcasts in person. That'd be nice.
That's what that'll be awesome. Dude, we could literally record it in the WSOP Paris ballroom. You know, all the tables. That would be sick. And then we could also
Yeah,
get some in person. In person recording as well, like with like some guests, which would be
bring
even
on
better. I
Brad
think.
Owen, my hero.
Why not? Dude, he seems like a
Negreanu,
chill
my
dude.
hero.
Not
Yeah,
Negreanu. I don't want to get Negreanu, but maybe like
really.
yeah, dude. He's GG man. I don't like GG. I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
Who's that? Oh yeah, Brad Owens, WPT. Yeah, yeah. We can talk to Brad. Yeah,
one of us is one of us.
maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, like I think honestly, yeah, Vegas is like super stoked. Obviously, you're like kind of a way away, but not really. Like 2 months, they'll probably will be there. But yeah, my plans. Keep riding this fucking heater, dude. This fucking heater is red hot right now. I'm hot to touch, like insane, insane run. Yeah, like I think there's a Pioneer 10-20 game next Monday with Bulldog, with the British Bulldog from the lodge.
he's
He'll be
coming
here.
back to Sheffield.
He'll be in Sheffield, dude. So
Nice.
I don't know. Like, I might try and fire that game just for the content purpose as well. So like, what I'm trying to do is I want to get some phone that I can use to record. So I got my iPhone here, but it's not very good for like recording vlogs because of the memory and shit and the battery. So I'm trying to get like a smartphone that's great with camera, so I can just sit and record the whole session and then get hands.
Yep, yep.
So that's hopefully part of the plan. That'll be Monday. But I guess long term, we've got WPT Montreal, so I'll be in Canada for like a couple of weeks for that, and then to Vegas for about a month and a half, something like that. Dude, we'll sort something out. Even if I have to fucking come to Illinois and sit down with you in a 2-5 game, I'm getting those chips, man. I'm getting that
Yeah,
money.
yeah. All
But,
right,
yeah,
we'll figure it out. Yeah,
yeah.
we'll see each other soon.
But okay, so WSOPC, and then I'll be in just playing usual cash games. We've got nothing, no exciting series here, but I guess people can follow you on OnGo Poker, right?
Yep,
Instagram.
Ongo Poker, MinBet Poker on Instagram, Twitter
That's
as
it.
well, right?
Twitter as well, YouTube, MinBet Poker, Boy Called Camp for myself on Instagram. We'll probably both be posting bad beats and hand histories, I'm sure,
Yeah.
when we're
If you
playing.
want to send us something, yeah, send us a hand. We'll review it.
Yeah. Get in touch if you wanted to review from Dumbhand. Send it, and
Yeah.
I'll get it in next episode. But I think so on the guest side of it, we're close to getting Ryan DePaulo on. I just need to get him to confirm some times, but like there's a whole bunch of people I've got in the work, so I will probably discuss this after later this week. But I really want to get some guests on so we can grill them on some questions about like what you've asked, is poker gambling and all this stuff. I wonder
Yeah.
what Ryan would say. I think Ryan would say probably yes. Emphatic, yeah.
The way that
Yeah.
he plays, I'd agree. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome dude.
he makes money though.
Yeah.
Content creating and stuff. So
Like, dude, he was the OG man. Dude, he was running around Rivers Casino with his friends, just fucking gambling on video poker and making content.
Yeah.
Like he's the OG of that genre. I don't think there's anybody else that did it like him for that period. So it'd be really there's very few people that I'd ever chase for a podcast, but he's for sure one of them. So yeah, touch wood that he kind of replies this week. We get him on. That'll be some good content.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for this episode, and we'll catch you later this week probably. Yeah.